with the drama. But I think, I think it's a rare instance of Zendaya's really good performance. Because before then, you really have her being, I don't think she really had the acting chops to do it. To have like a really serious role. I don't think she really has that capability. I think that brings us, I think, to the reality of like the drama, right? It's where, she is kind of more of a main role in that way.
Yeah.
And I don't think she really has that one dimensionality that I think
No.
that I think is characteristic of her previous roles. And I think it was a very mature performance from her, and I think she did a great job.
I think the drama's definitely been her best performance to date.
Yes.
By far. I don't
Yeah.
think, and it's weird because I feel like there wasn't a lot of buzz for the drama. There was a lot of like,
And it was out of theaters like quick.
I think it was within a month.
Yeah,
Like it
it
was
was
like
gone.
the wide release for it, and then it was gone. And then I guess the
Well, it's just,
streaming,
went straight to streaming.
yeah, you can rent it on there. But yeah, I mean, I think that was the first performance where she was actually interesting. I guess maybe it's like, I mean, the plot of it, the whole thing, not to spoil it, but it's like, her being a potential school shooter added this like weird depth, but
Yeah.
you saw her from a romantic viewpoint first,
Mhm.
and then that developed. So I feel like you got like this kind of character development quickly that you
Yeah.
didn't really get for other movies with her. And then it's like, then the whole, like her past is the whole core of the plot, trying to
Yes.
overcome that. So yeah, I think she was a lot. She just like, I think maybe it's the writing. I don't know. Like, because there's so many things that go into making a good performance.
Yeah.
It's not just the actor's ability for range.
Yeah, it's not the range. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's not just that, but I also think too the emotionality in which he was able to bring to that role. Right, I think there was more emotional range for her in that role. Right, I think the same with Robert Pattinson too. I think they both did a fantastic job. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of look at something like this where, in terms of the actor's performance, right, I do agree that it's more than just emotional range, although I think that kind of adds to the point, because if there's supposed to be like a scene that really calls for this outpouring of emotion, right, that the world has crashed around you or is crashing down around you, right, I think it calls for a much greater emotional range and depth than
Which is kind of
just
interesting.
that like
Yeah.
like
It's
that.
it's interesting too, because the more I think about that movie, it's like Robert Pattinson was definitely like the core of that film. He was like the main case study that the film developed, and I think we talked about that before of like the whole Freud quote. Do you remember specifically what that said?
Yeah, so he said in the well, I think when they were in bed
Yeah,
together,
he was
he
in
was
his-
like,
yeah. It was after all this.
exactly after the revelation comes out and stuff. He says, well, people keep their emotions. Freud says, and I'm paraphrasing, but Freud says that you bottle emotions up and they come out in unexpected ways.
Yeah,
And that's really what happened to him. I know that we had kind of discussed that before, but that's really kind of what happened to him,
for
right?
sure.
He has this he's hit with this very strange thing, and I think it adds to also the dimensionality of it is that he's British, right? He doesn't have an American accent in this film, right?
True.
So, and he mentions later in the movie that if school shootings are an American thing. So I think if you have someone who's a foreigner, right, who's not accustomed to the frequency of school shootings that we have here in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Then you add that dimension also to the fact that this is someone who he's been, I think, dating for like 3 years, something like that, 2 years, something like
A
that.
couple years at least. Yeah.
And then now the revelation comes out the week of the wedding, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where you have like a really good, where the irony is that he's talking about her, that the emotions could come out in very unexpected ways, but it's really him, right?
Yeah.
He goes to start.
Because she doesn't really have, like, when you think about it, she doesn't have a huge emotional range in the terms of like, she gets this out to her friends at the dinner table, and is taken aback by the reactions from everybody, obviously, and then it's kind of like her almost like feeling sorry for herself or wanting to all go back to normal, and then like we see the dissension of Robert Pattinson's character Charlie, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, like this isn't like you think that the whole core of like her revealing that is like such a shock. It's like, how are they gonna, like, what's it gonna go to now? My thought wasn't gonna be just like all about Robert Pattinson and his dissension, because then you're just like, oh my god, this guy's going crazy. The whole cheating thing he did, and just like unraveling.
Yeah.
It's like,
What's it about? His psyche just tears him apart.
yeah,
He
he
just
doesn't know what to
starts-
do, because everyone's like, oh, you should leave her. She's a crazy. Call the cops.
Yeah, but
Everyone
then
has
you
their
have-
opinions.
Yeah.
But it's like,
how are you going to do that? When, especially, I think the movie really set up very well at the beginning, right? Of the relationship, how it began, and the
Mm-hmm.
emotionality that they feel, right? So you have that pull that's there, and I
Yeah.
think the movie actually presents a really good kind of hypothetical question
Mm.
concerning like what would you do
For
that?
sure.
And I don't think anyone can really answer that question. I think it's one of those situations where you can't really answer that question until you're in that type of situation.
Yeah.
Where you just don't know.
Because he's
Right.
asking that his coworker, and she's like, "Oh, I call the cops."
Yeah.
And he's just like, "What are you talking
Yeah,
about?"
he
Like
just
instantly
throws the food. Yeah, he
Yeah,
goes
he
crazy.
just goes
Yeah.
crazy because it's like he knows that's not what he wants to do.
No.
And I don't think he ever intended on doing that because it's
No.
like he had this connection with her, and it's like, all right, do you throw this all away for something? Like his whole thing is like, people change. Like
Yeah.
that was, she was 15. Like people
Yeah.
can change from this, and
And by every indication in the movie, she did change.
yeah,
Like she threw the gun away. She became this anti-gun activist. Like she
Right.
became this very like she did. There was a change in her character that happened there. But again, it's still the thing of like, holy shit, you came that close. And
Yeah.
the only reason you didn't was because there was another shooting.
Yeah.
Right. That becomes a weird.
and I kind of
like,
like how they didn't really like feed into that of why you didn't do it, and leaving it as something so just like, oh, someone else got around to it before I did.
Yeah.
The audience is almost just like, it's hard for you to wrap your brain around that, but at the same time, it's like maybe that's how simple it is to just like not do it. It's something like
Yeah.
something just snaps.
Also, I think it presents a really good kind of hypothetical too for her for like that character and even the situation itself, right? There's no she has the gun in school, right? But there's no moral epiphany that she has, right?
No.
There's no big
No,
thing.
not at all.
It's just simply something else happens.
Well, there's kind of a moral
well,
epiphany.
yeah, but that comes after, right? After somebody else gets shot, after everyone else in the school like
Yeah.
knows this person that died, right? But there's no moral epiphany in that moment before the news breaks that there was another shooting, right?
Right.
That's, I think, a very good, interesting thing where I think it also kind of flips the coin up where did she really change? And I think she did. I mean, I take the position that she did actually change,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it creates a very interesting kind of razor that you could maybe go the other way with that.
Yeah.
That it's that she actually didn't really change.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Yeah, it's like
was
because it's like she said, it looked cool. Like school shootings were like interesting to me. Like this is something.
she liked the aesthetics.
She liked the aesthetics of it, not the necessary like violence of it. Because he was like, later on, he's like, "Do you have any other violent tendencies?" She's like, "No, of course not."
No.
Like recoiled almost at it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, was she just like, was this just like a phase that a high schooler could go through? Like, is this I don't know, a deep
Right.
dive into the ways that
If people go
they
haywire.
yeah. And it's like, are they really crazy, or is it something as simple as just like, oh, this looked cool and I was intrigued by it? I don't know.
I think it's kind of a mix of both.
I think it could be for
I
sure.
think, people have they're screwed up in the head, and
Yeah.
at the same time too, they like the aesthetic of it. They want to be known.
Yeah.
They want to
They see like the fame that can, or like the notoriety
Yeah,
that
it's like
can.
the copycats, right? That's
Yeah.
they list other people in their manifesto. So that's the new thing now too, is that not to get too in the weeds with politics and stuff like that, but it's also kind of like an interesting phenomenon that I've noticed too lately with like shootings, is that ever since Luigi Mangione, because he inscribed things in the bullets.
Yeah,
and that was
yeah.
like the first time I've heard of it. I don't know if that,
Yep.
whatever. But ever since then, there's always been where there was engravings on.
Yeah.
Well, at least you hear from the law enforcement, where, like there was
Like
engravings.
the Charlie
on the bullet
Kirk thing.
Charlie Kirk
There
had
was
the
that
same
the
thing.
ice shooting, and
There was the guy in
Texas.
the what's it called? Yeah, the Texas.
Mhm.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, and there was the one in the White House Correspondents' Dinner too, where he engraved
Yeah.
things on the shelves.
Yeah.
It's crazy that, and then also the one that just happened in San Diego, the mosque.
Were there writings on
Yeah,
that?
they were inscribed on the bullets and on the gun.
Yeah, very weird. It's like
It's
there's
very
no way that
enough
just
phen-
like
Because that phenomenon, I don't really recall that being a thing like before. And I don't think there was anything for like the Newtown shooter or even with like Columbine, the big ones, right? There wasn't really.
oh, I don't think so. I mean,
They had manifestos. They wrote shit. I don't think the one in Newtown did, but
yeah,
I know Columbine did
yeah,
manifestos. But it's just strange. It's just crazy that this is now the new way of the copycat that people do, right?
it is interesting.
But
But yeah, I
But
mean,
it is
I guess
interesting,
going
but-
back to the movie, it's like
yeah.
it is it's a weird like case study that you didn't expect to get.
No, I think it was a really good too kind of like psychological, not thriller, but I think it was a really good kind of psychological movie that was there.
'Cause
Because
it's
it's
like-
a really good hypothetical too.
It's like a weird, it's like a rom-com.
Who was the director?
Christopher Borgli.
Borg-
I think he's Swedish or Norwegian.
Hmm.
Um, I hadn't heard from him before. This is
Did
like
he
the
make
first
anything
thing.
else? Do you know?
I think he's made a couple features before this. I'm not sure though. I haven't seen them.
Okay.
But I mean, just the whole filming of it, the editing of it, the different shots when he's at the table. That's like such a cool scene, in my opinion. It's that like really shows, I don't know, that like gives you so much more depth into his character right there. That it's like, because you don't know what's happening. He's like,
No.
did I just throw everything away? Like, is
Yeah.
everything just destroyed?
Yeah.
And then you just see like, I don't know, like the weaving of emotions of him laying there like lifeless. You can
Yeah.
see like his like breath like extending, and then he's just like, oh, screw this, and like sits up,
Yeah.
and then he's also just like, and then he stands and then he's dancing,
Dancing,
but then you
yeah.
just see it like as it's zooming in, he's
He's
like
just
hollow,
broken, yeah.
like there's nothing inside of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's
Wow.
interesting, and then I think my whole conspiracy or philosophy of the end, I like to believe that the diner scene happened and she walked in
Mhm.
and it was like all good
Yeah.
because that's like what they agreed upon,
Yeah.
kind of the foreshadowing before of,
Yeah.
you know, let's meet at the diner, and he was like, I don't want to do that. But then it's kind of like, in my head, I almost feel like sticking with the dark comedy aspect of it, that it isn't like a happy ending in a weird way. I guess we don't understand the amount of time that passed between the ending of the wedding and them arriving to the diner.
Yeah.
Because, like, she's in the same thing. Like, she's in the same orange coat, wedding dress, looks
Mhm.
exactly the same.
Mhm.
We don't know where she went. Well, he said she was with his dad, with her dad. But then he's there, and then, you know, she comes back, and the only conversation they have is just like their quintessential, like, what's your name? Like, do you come here often? And that's what it was. And that's like what he probably wanted so much,
Yeah.
was like, please let this be
Yeah.
like just a bad
Real, yeah.
dream. And that's
And that-
what the audience got. But it's like, in reality, because I think we talked about this before, like there'd be scenes of them sitting apart after the revelation of, you know, her past. And then it would cut quickly to him like
Mhm.
going on the couch with her, and then it would cut back, and it's
Yeah.
like it's not happening.
But that's why I think it was real,
Mm.
because it was such a longer scene than those like quick cuts of kind of what they wanted.
I guess so. Yeah.
But I understand. But yeah, but I also think too it was real because it was the jacket, right? He didn't see what jacket she left, right? When he gets hit in the face, right?
Yeah.
She leaves, right? He's out. Right?
Yeah, true. He doesn't know where
So he
she
doesn't
went.
know where she went, and she doesn't know what she's wearing, right? She doesn't know the jacket that she's wearing because you see her as she's leaving at the garden with the orange jacket.
Yeah, I guess as she
And then
walked
she's
in her
coming
wedding
back, yeah,
dress,
with
it would've
the wedding
been-
dress and the orange jacket that she's wearing.
True.
So I'd like to think it's real. I like to.
I
think
do
that was
too. I mean,
actually
that's like the
an ethical
optimistic
thing.
ending of that. But I mean, I think you could also argue that it's potentially not. It's just all happening in his head, because it's like when you look at what he did, is insane. He cheats on her.
Mhm.
He tells that woman about the school shooting
Yes.
in itself, which is like crazy. You know, that's like the one thing she doesn't want anybody to know at all.
And now she knows.
And now she knows, other people know,
Yep.
and then the whole revelation of cheating. It's like, and then the best or the speech that he gives is like
Insane.
It's
It's
just
insane.
like, it makes you like.
I thought he was
cringe.
drunk for that scene, but I think he was just. Again,
I
his
think he was
psyche, I think,
drunk.
was like unraveling.
I think he
for
was
things.
drunk, because remember he's in the when he's dancing in his apartment, he throws up then, like right
Oh,
when,
yeah.
right when it's like zooming in.
But then too, there's this when they're panning into him, in that where he's like lying on the table or whatever.
yeah,
You see like there's a champagne bottle in a thing, and then there's two flutes, and one of them looks like it was like half drunk, and other one is like still kind of full. So I don't know if he was also just
drinking there.
drinking the champagne that was at the house. So, you know,
Could have
I
been.
wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
but-
they both clearly drank. There's a lot of scenes of them drinking.
Yeah.
You know, her going to like the cabinet at the wedding, like chugging the
oh yeah,
liquor, and
yeah.
so I'm sure they're, you know, for sure he was. I mean, yeah, just the way he's slurring his speech and everything, and
Yeah.
oh, that scene at the wedding is insane. So
It's
well done.
really good.
It's
Very good
so
tension,
well
yes.
done, and it's just
That was the first movie I've ever seen with that director, and it was very good.
for
Very,
sure.
very
And I think Robert Pattinson, he's such a like interesting actor. He had the whole Twilight, you know, I guess Harry Potter
in a
was his
different.
intro, but big fantasy guy,
Yeah.
heartthrob, everybody loves him, and
Yeah.
then he just disappeared. Like he was gone for
Yeah.
years, and then I think he made like the Elephant Man or some Water for Elephants,
Okay.
which I actually never saw
Yeah,
that
Elephant
one.
Man was in the 80s. Good,
Yeah,
great movie too, by the way.
different movie, but
Great movie.
then like, yeah, he did a lot of independent films, kind of rehabilitated his image of like I'm actually a serious actor
Yeah,
and I'm not just this
he's not.
commercial, like a Daniel Radcliffe or someone who's just like in Harry Potter. And then he's been in other things, but it's like
He's Harry Potter.
you're so typecasted, it's like impossible to break.
Well, it's
But
like that kid, the other Harry Potter kid. What's his name? He played Draco Malfoy. He's
Tom
just,
Felton.
yeah, he's just always.
I mean,
Draco.
he's
That's it.
literally Draco again on Broadway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he like literally took up the same role. So it's
Oh
like
my god.
which is like,
I mean,
there's no shame in that. It's
no,
like that's
I mean
just it's a career, it's your life.
Yeah, you're making
and
money. You like
I'm
doing
sure
it.
it's
That's
fun.
fine. But yeah, that's kind of what you are now. That's it. It's
Yeah.
another reason why I think like Tom Holland will always be. I think it's one of the things that makes, especially like the superhero, like Tom Holland will always be.
It's gonna be
It's very
really
hard
hard.
to get.
I think the only way is to do what Pattinson did. And it's
Yeah.
like you have to like completely remove yourself. But Tom Holland is in such a weird spot now because it's like it's not like he's struggling to get roles. It's like he's in the Odyssey. He's starring with Zendaya. Are they married? I know they're engaged, I think.
I think the rumors that they got married. I have no idea.
Well, they're very serious, whether or not, and it's like that. She's like the number one.
But the thing with Tom Holland though is that he's got this such baby face look, and
Yeah.
not to like harp on him or whatever. Because this very baby face look.
Hmm.
I don't know if he really has, especially in the Odyssey. I don't know if he'll have the way to bring that gravitas up.
And who knows how much?
Because I don't know. Because again, I've never seen him in anything that was good. Right? I think you saw the other movie with Robert Pattinson and him in it, but
Yeah, Devil All the Time.
I just don't think he's got that.
Because that was his.
Like
that,
again, what I'm
Yeah.
looking for is like maturity, right?
Yeah.
He's almost, if he's not already 30, he's probably past 30, right?
he's probably
31,
29. I think he's like 20.
Something around
I
there,
don't
yeah. But there's just I don't really see like a lot of mature, like
Yeah, and it's like
performance
nothing against
from.
like him as an actor and his ability. I think he's a really good actor.
Oh, he does Spider-Man well.
But like,
he does
when I
that well.
saw The Devil All the Time, him and Pattinson, it's like he was the one that was meant to be like the driving force of that movie
Mhm.
and like the protective older brother to his sister. I saw it years ago. I can't remember like the full thing, but it just didn't develop like it should have. And then Robert Pattinson's character, he's playing like the pastor or the minister
Mm.
in this like southern church, and he's obviously like a creep, and like I think he rapes the Tom Holland's his sister. But he like you get the real gravitas of Pattinson in that role.
Yeah.
Like he's able to, like we said, like he's not typecasted anymore.
Well, yeah.
He's breaking out of it. Whereas Tom Holland has a problem where he's getting these big roles still,
Mhm.
big directors, working alongside the biggest actors still. He's an A-lister, obviously, but I don't know how he's gonna be able to break like Pattinson did, because it's like Robert Pattinson's been able to. He's had a great performances recently over the few years. Was in Tenet. I wasn't a huge fan of Mickey 17. I don't think that was his fault. I think that was just
The movie.
poor writing for sure. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the big problem. You keep mentioning writing, and I think that's a big fucking thing now, especially with movies that are coming out, is that the writing for a lot of these movies just suck.
terrible.
They're terrible.
Yep.
It's all very, and I love to use this phrase, it's Reddit slop. It's
Yeah.
very, it's to the lowest common denominator. There's no sense of trying to make anything poetic or beautiful or nice. And I think the reason for that is a lot of the writers, they don't read anymore.
Mhm.
They don't read novels.
Yeah.
So they don't know, so their dialogue that they come in with is either TV shows or other movies,
Yeah.
or it's with, social media.
My
Right. I don't think
yeah.
they don't read anything. Or if they do read novels, it's the dime store, Pop 20,
Right.
Colleen Hoover books that are out, which is, again, it's good that you're reading those things. It's good that you're reading to begin with, but it's not really, again, there's no, I like the term gravitas. There's none of that
Yeah.
weight with these things.
And like a real
They always try to break the tension with things in like these very stupid kind of throwaway comments of like, did he really just say that? Like,
yeah.
or that just happened, and it's just
Yeah.
such a bullshit. Like,
We're not gaining anything.
not only not gaining anything. You take yourself out of this situation where this moment that's supposed to have such weight to it, this whatever that may be, right?
Yeah.
Now you've just broken, right? Now because you have this now ironic detachment to what's actually happening on screen. And again, I think we spoke about it last night too, about how you could take any of these child movies from like the 90s and the early 2000s, compare them to whatever's being made today in terms of writing and storyline and like the emotional weight that certain scenes have,
Yeah.
and they blow them out of the water.
Yeah, night and day.
They blow them out of the water.
And I think we have a problem too. It's like the kind of a real world example is the Hamnet movie that came out last year. I didn't see it, so I'll have to preface it with that.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I didn't see it was, Chloe Zhao was the director, or Zhao was the director, and in an interview she gave, she basically said that because it was an adaptation of an author who basically wrote the book Hamnet, and then Chloe Zhao and this author wrote the screenplay for it, and she basically admitted saying like, I didn't understand 75% of like the language that we wrote pretty much. And it's like I think she said Paul Mescal was the one that told me Shakespeare is more about the emotion involved as opposed to the words that are being said, which is the most like insulting, like first world sort of problem that it's like, oh, because this successful actor told me that Shakespeare is more about the performance, because obviously when Shakespeare is being performed, most people couldn't read then, most of the audience who went to go see it. That is not what Shakespeare is supposed to be intended. The core of Shakespeare is the writing. Like, there's no scene direction in the plays.
No.
There's no setting.
No.
It's literally enter garden, leave room.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you get. And the rest of it is just pure dialogue, pure writing. It's
And that's such a again, we're getting to the consequence of people not reading anymore, and that's causing a problem, is that no one even reads Shakespeare anymore. I was asking my brother this the other day. I was like, have you read like Hamlet in high school? Have you read Shakespeare yet? And he was like, we read Hamlet. I'm like, no, it's the same person. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's the consequence of people are not reading, and especially younger people aren't reading. But the whole point of Shakespeare is the writing.
That's
right?
all it
I
is.
think, I forgot who said it, which French person said it, but he basically said, in England, there's two works. I'm paraphrasing. In England, there's two works, the Bible and Shakespeare. England made Shakespeare, but the Bible made England. And I think, you have this situation where Shakespeare his writing is such, it's beautiful. It really conveys this sense of, like this pre-modern consciousness that's coming out, especially with Hamlet. I mean, everyone knows the to be or not to be soliloquy.
I mean, that's iconic.
But that's writing. That's not performance. That's
it's
writing.
Like, you can have great performances like,
writing.
Kenneth Branagh, who's like, I think one of the best Shakespearean actors. He has his own Shakespearean troupe in the UK, and he's been in, he's got to be in some of the most, Hamlet, I think Richard III he might have been in, or Henry IV. And it's like, you can have phenomenal performances that enhance the writing and brings it to real life. And, his famous Hamlet movie is like it's so
great.
beautiful and well done, but it's like, we're not being convinced by the actors of the story. It's the author. It's the writing that. And it's the performance of it. And it's not just, even the writing of it, like the style it's written in is so specific and almost unthinkable to be able to write these massive plays in this specific form of writing. It's I don't know.
But I disagree with that conclusion by Mescal. It's not the performance, it's the writing.
And I think it was Mescal. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure in that interview she said that.
But it's just is that like
someone
again,
said that.
It's I don't again, it's not the performance, it's the writing, right? And I think, I think there's accounts from back when like the gold rush was happening in San Francisco in 1849. I think 1849. Because it's the 49ers. No. But
there we go.
We might have to cut that one out. But yeah, it's but they would how they would entertain themselves at night around the campfire, these gold miners. They would, again, the bottom of the barrel, they're out in California trying to strike gold, right?
Yeah.
They would recite Shakespeare plays from memory.
Yeah.
Around the campfire because that was just so ubiquitous in what was going on, and the testament to his influence, and how everyone knew what he was. And I don't think that these minors were necessarily the best performers
Yeah,
in terms
or
of
the
acting.
most well-educated.
But it
Maybe it's
didn't
like,
matter because
yeah,
the writing carries the performance. You don't have to, I think,
always.
with Shakespeare, I don't think you need to necessarily be a great performer. You just need to be able to memorize the lines and say them because the lines do the work for you. And I think that's a
Literally.
really good thing with writing is that you have these, you could have a story, you can have these actors that may not necessarily bring, the full, performance weight that we're looking for actors, but the writing is still so good
Yeah.
that it almost, you can kind of look past them
Yeah.
because the words carry their own weight
Mm-hmm.
that kind of cut through whatever other bullshit that may be, kind of in the way there.
Yeah. And a lot of writing too, it's like Shakespeare, there's so much writing. It's basically all like, whether it's a monologue or a dialogue or a soliloquy or whatever it is. And it's kind of like the new thing is, people either, it almost sounds like it's like an AI sort of writing now. Like it almost feels like that's being incorporated in some way.
Well, that's what they do now is that they do this thing is now the dialogue for a lot of these, like, especially like TV shows and stuff now too, is that the characters in the show are now telling you what they're doing and they're going through the plot again and again and again because
Yeah.
because the people who are making these shows or whatever, they realize that, people aren't really watching
Right.
the stuff, right? They have it on as background
Literally.
to, doing laundry or the dishes or whatever. So they're not really watching anything. So they have to constantly say like,
Yeah, this is what's happening. This
Yeah,
is
this
the
is
core
what's
of the plot that
happening.
we
This
introduced in the
is-
first 5
exactly.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, there's like recent TV shows I've watched where like they can't stop mentioning that, and then that goes against the attention span of average people. I mean, we're at like a crisis level of
it's
being
worse than a
anyone's
goldfish.
I mean, just like even watching a movie, people can't even do that.
No.
It's like they prefer the streaming because they can pause it or they
Yeah.
can like go on their phone or
Yeah.
like keep it in the background. I remember growing up and people, there's people like put sitcoms on in the background or something like, Friends. I like playing that when I'm doing laundry or doing homework or something. It's like, I just feel like that creates such a bad mentality as you get older and you mature because you can't especially when you do that as like a young person, then you have no attention for it,
Yeah.
and it's just like how are these like shows getting renewed? How are these like is it just from the views?
None of the shows are getting renewed. That's
I
the
guess
thing. None of
there's
these
a lot
shows are getting renewed.
cancellations, yeah,
All these
well,
shows are getting
Harry
canceled.
Potter already got renewed for a
Yeah.
second season. That hasn't even come out yet. So
But they used to
Figure.
sign people. They used to sign shows up for like 5 seasons.
Yeah.
That's why also too, like, they used to do, the problem with a lot of shows now too is it takes like 2-3 years for the next season to come out. Whereas before it used to be like you would get a season every year,
right.
right? Because by the time that the first season was done, right, they were already finished writing the next season, right?
And it's and then
because they were already signed up, so you
Right.
have to get it done.
And the problem too is like the spending that goes on with these shows now, like Amazon's The Rings of Power, like the Lord of the Rings show. I think we watched like the first 2 episodes of
Yeah.
it, and it's like they spent $1 billion on
Yeah.
the first season. I think
And
they had to buy the rights from the Tolkien estate for like $400 million.
And it looked like shit.
It was so bad. It was such an insult to the Lord of the Rings, to Tolkien, to Peter Jackson, to the early 2000s movies, all that. I mean, excluding The Hobbit, awful as well. But it's like that got renewed. I think it's on its 3rd season. It's got the most
It got renewed.
I think it's on its 3rd season. The most unbelievable bad ratings got ripped everywhere. But it's like, well, we have $1 billion into it already, so
Invested, yeah.
we have to keep going. Unfortunately, everybody.
It's chasing bad
And
money
then,
after bad money.
On top of that, you have the potentiality of these studios to ruin the actors' reputations because they're strapping them to a show that they know is super unpopular, but there's so much money that they literally can't get out of it.
They can't get.
So we're gonna keep you guys employed and like making some good money, but
my problem is too with a lot of this shit is that they're like, you have so much original IP out there that you're just not using. You're not utilizing any of it. You just want to make the cash grab because Lord of the Rings has a big following,
All
and
the
so you just want to
remakes.
do that.
Yep.
Yeah, the remakes, all this. There's no creativity, and that's bothering. That's
Yep.
so annoying.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of good books out there. There's a lot of good original IP. You saw even too, like, right, the Boys had really good success as a TV show because it was original, right? Until I
was,
think
yeah.
until now I'm hearing that the
yeah.
that the the finale didn't really work. But a lot of TV shows really can't stick the finale.
They have no idea how to do
can't-
it.
No, nobody I think knows how to write a finale.
Which I mean, I don't know what goes on.
I mean, Succession had a great finale. I think that was a great. That was great. I don't know if you've seen that one, but that's
I
a
didn't
great
finish
show.
it, no,
That's a
but-
great show. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
But again, I think it's the writing. I think it's the lack of writing. It's the lack of IP. They're just not creative anymore. And I think I don't know. And again, I said it yesterday. I don't know how much of it's PE driven. I don't know how much of it's private equity driven. You have
Yeah.
these
Who's
big
in those
banks,
rooms?
these big stuff who buy a lot of the stock, who are basically kind of making voting decisions on the board or electing people on the board. I don't know how much of that is the case there, where they're just trying to make a safe bet on a safe
Yeah.
safe return on their investment, and how much of that's just them being lazy and them just shutting people out of the writing room that shouldn't be shut out of. There's one interesting thing I saw today on Twitter. Actually, it was the creator of Powerpuff Girls. I think it's Craig McCracken. I forgot what his name was. Craig something. But he was 24 years old.
Really?
24 years old. This creator of he had own responsibility doing the Powerpuff Girls at 24 years old. I was like,
That's
we don't have
crazy.
that anymore.
No.
Where's one instance where you have that now of like young people really kind of running
The only thing I can
being
think
given
of.
a creative chance?
The only thing I can think of is the new Backrooms movie coming out with Kane Parsons. I think his name's Kane Parsons. Is the director. I think he's 21.
Yeah.
Which is, I think he's the youngest director for an A24 film in history. So it's like I have a little bit of faith, but he had to make a super successful series basically on YouTube in order to be able to do that, which was impressive in itself. And that's like I'm very pleased for him. But it's like, yeah, you just don't have that anymore. There's so many competing interests, and you would think that they're kind of how I think this is maybe the reason like music had a downfall too. It's like, oh, everybody has music making software. Everybody can do it. You had Chance the Rapper who was like, oh, I'm the first guy that didn't sign to a label and I'm so famous. And it's like, now you're nothing. And now like nobody can get anything. Like it's so saturated. And you kind of think that the whole thing with film would open up for other creators too, but it doesn't. Like it's not doing that. I mean, hopefully, I know there's that Obsession movie that came out that's doing really well. We could talk about that another day. But it's like, we need that. We need these like independent creators that can get on the big screen and not just be bought out by Disney. It's crazy, or Amazon.
Because it's insane that we just don't have.
And they're just ruining all their own IP.
Yeah.
Disney's ruined Marvel. Disney's ruined Star Wars. Like, it's almost just like textbook.
They're also
at this
doing.
point.
They're doing.
Amazon ruined Lord of the Rings.
They ruined Lord of the Rings. What else did they? They ruined Star Wars. Disney did.
Big time. Like it's
just it. But I just don't
Star
understand.
Trek gone.
But then you look again. You look at what they're making now, and then you look at specifically Disney too. You look at what they're making now compared to what they're making in like the 80s and the 90s, and like
Crazy.
these really unique,
Yeah.
stories with like very compelling animation
Yep.
and acting.
We
and
talked about
writing.
that the other night, like with Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like that was early 2000s. Incredible.
Incredible. The first three,
Disney.
incredible.
It's a Disney movie.
Disney movie.
Insane.
Incredible.
Like it's
But they don't. But again, I don't think they would ever take a risk like that again.
Yeah.
For any.
And
of
I
their
think
stuff.
we also brought this up where it was like, it's like, oh, we just put $500 million into a Marvel film. We like your idea, but like because we did that, we don't want to risk it. Even though it sounds really good,
Yeah.
we had to make
have
this
to do it,
because
yeah.
like we have to do that. It's Marvel. So it's like I'm sure there are so many films that have been made that are just sitting on a pretty shelf
Yeah.
in the corner of a studio that will just never ever see the light of day.
And they always, it's the bad. It's 50-50 of what they put out, and it's usually the bad 50.
Oh yeah, how is that?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I think it's interesting when even a movie that's not good, right? But if it's creative and different, I think I appreciate those,
Yeah.
right? One of them is Eddington, right? It was
Right.
different and creative in a different direction with everything. It was different than all the other movies that came out that year, 2025, and I think it was the best movie of 2025.
I think so,
and
too.
I think it got snubbed by every award show.
It almost didn't even get snubbed. It just like it
No one
disappeared.
Yeah.
They just like removed it from
They
the
shelved it,
zeitgeist.
yeah.
Like in real time. And it wasn't like there wasn't anybody in it. You had Joaquin, you had Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone,
Yeah.
Austin Butler. Like
Yeah.
you had the biggest actors in the world in
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
It's like it didn't happen.
No.
Didn't get a single award nomination for anything.
Nobody cared.
It's crazy.
And it's a really good film, and I think
Really
very
good.
prescient for our time.
For
now,
sure. It's just because
And
it
it's
was
just-
an uncomfortable political discussion
Yeah.
that nobody wanted to talk
No.
about. They
And-
didn't want to bring it back up again.
Exactly. No one wanted to talk about COVID again. No one
Nope.
wanted to talk about BLM again. So they just
They
Who
just
cares?
they shelved
We
it in
want to
real
forget
life.
2020, and so we're just gonna do that.
It's crazy.
But it's a good
Shout out Ari Aster and Joaquin Phoenix.
Hey,
Excellent performances.
yes,
Like
that
it's so
was
even
yes,
Pedro Pascal, not the
yes,
biggest fan of
yes.
Pedro Pascal,
Did an
he's
amazing job.
incredible.
Amazing job.
Great performance.
But I
Can't-
was like, I'm just shocked that. But again, that's an original kind of storyline, kind of modern. Really good use of iPhones for that one, which shows that
True.
you can do it.
Yes,
Right? It's
excellent
possible.
use of iPhones for
you
sure.
know, and nothing. Right?
Nothing.
And no recognition. And I think it did very well too at the box office. I
I
don't
think
it
so.
wasn't
Yeah,
a flop.
there was a lot of marketing for it. Like,
But so but that's the thing that I'm just crazy about is like, why are we not doing more of that? Why are we doing more of the
yeah.
like? I
And,
just
and talking
don't
about like
understand.
last year's season, it's like one battle after another, regardless of what you think of the movie. I mean, I know we're not fans of it,
Yeah.
but it's like that was the biggest flop at the box office of 2025. It was the most expensive film that Paul Thomas Anderson ever made, 150 million to 200 million. Massive flop. Lost like $100 million.
Yeah.
Biggest winner at the Oscars.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So it's like, are we using fans to determine if it's good or not? Are we using critics to determine if it's good or not? Is it profitability, whether it's good or not? It seems like it's just up for grabs. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, the studio, it's Paul Thomas Anderson and it's Leo and it's, Benicio.
I think it was political in a lot
I
of ways.
guess.
I think it was very
mean,
political.
at the end of the day,
I
it
think it
kind
was
of
very
has to
political.
be.
But it's just one of those things that just I like. Again, there's no like Sinners was not an original movie, right? They stole it from
Quentin.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Right. It's not an original film, right? And again, it got the most nominations ever,
Of any movie
which
in
makes
history.
no sense to me
No.
compared to every other film that's ever been made.
Yeah. Just think
to
of every
date.
other like best picture or whatever it is.
Not
It's
even
like,
that. Just compare it to any other good movie,
Yeah.
right? And just it doesn't an original movie too. It just doesn't compare with
A
any of them.
vampire thriller about two twins in the South.
Yeah. Again, the Tarantino movie. It's just crazy to me what is allowed to pass in professional circles in Hollywood. That's why I think they're broken, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot more independent studios. I think that's why you're seeing why A24 is doing such a great job. They're giving you original
Yeah, always.
shit.
They always
They're giving
original.
you originals, or even if it's not original, like Dracula was not original. I don't think that was A24 though. Was that A24? Nosferatu.
Nosferatu? I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel
But,
like it wasn't.
Wasn't? Okay.
Maybe it was. Actually, I'm not totally sure. We'll have to
But
fact check that.
yeah. But I just know A24 provides very original, very unique movies, and they
Yeah.
always do very well. And it's always for a very low budget, right? They're
Mhm.
not making, I think the most that they ever made was, I don't think they ever broke the $1 billion mark for a movie.
No,
Making
no,
a
I don't
movie.
think so. Yeah.
So they make their movies for more or less cheap, and they knock it out of the park every time.
Yeah, they
I have
have a
not
very
seen
good
one
model.
A24 movie that I walked away from being like, that was shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
that was
it's
absolute
it's just not
shit.
a film for me,
Yeah.
but it's always
Yeah.
well made, you know?
But it's original. They take the risk. They do it, and it's like,
And that's why this Obsession movie that came out, I don't know anything about it really other than it's a horror film, but it's like made for 750K to $1 million. It's already made 30 million or 38 million in its first week.
yeah, that's crazy.
That's so impressive. And I don't think it's A24. It's like I don't know who produced it or
Yeah.
who distributed it, but it's like that's amazing. Like I want that to be like the new norm instead
Yeah.
of just like and going back to when I said like Marvel is like or Disney, it's like we spent $500 million on this movie, we can't make yours. That's because we lost 300 million on it. It's not that we just spent that. It's like we didn't make anything back from
No.
it. So therefore we can't make anything else.
No.
Or our budget's ended for
done.
the year.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just
done.
crazy.
It's I don't know. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The state of Hollywood now compared to what it was. Because I told you that book that I read, the Genius of the System. Great book, by the way. Anyone who's interested in film or Hollywood should definitely check that book out. But you go from like the situation from like the golden age of the studio era where these producers like really cared about
Yeah.
what they were making.
Art.
They looked at it as an art. They looked at it as like a profit motive too, right? They
Sure.
wanted to make their money off of these films,
Yeah, want to be
right?
successful.
But they wanted to make something good. They wanted to make a spectacle. They wanted to make it extravagant. They wanted to give you something great,
Yep.
right? They didn't want to settle for nothing.
Literally.
I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Thalberg or Selnick, one of the old producers from way back when. But he basically said in the book, there's two ways to make movies. You can make it cheap or you can make it expensive. And I would rather make an expensive movie,
Interesting.
right? And all of his movies were, Selnick did Gone with the Wind. Like that
Okay,
was
yeah.
the, he wanted to make an extravagant, beautiful
And that's
film.
okay. If,
And
like,
they don't,
yeah,
but they don't make beautiful things anymore,
They
right? That's
don't.
the and I
Very
think that's the
rare.
thing with society as well. The architecture's not beautiful. The
Mhm.
cars aren't beautiful, right? Everything's kind of becoming more the same colors
Just the
now.
grayscale.
Just grayscale. Just everything in the background's gray and like not gray, but fuzzy and
Mm.
blurry because they want the focus on just that person. Like there's no depth anymore. There's no interesting costumes. There's no
Very rarely.
they don't care, and I don't know why that is.
And
I
it's
don't
funny,
know
the
what
mo-
happened because it's a very recent thing.
Yeah, and then you see a movie like you mentioned Nosferatu, that got like no Oscar buzz at all.
No.
That got, I think, maybe nominated for 2 Oscars, and I don't think it won anything. And it's like, that was a great film.
It was really good.
Great costume,
Mhm.
the great set design.
Mhm.
That was a beautiful film. That's why I really appreciate Robert Eggers, appreciate Ari Aster. I appreciate
Yeah.
those guys that are like
They-
making something genuine,
Yeah.
and it's not like $150 million. It's like, if you're gonna make a $150 million film, it better be the fucking Titanic, Like it better be like such quality and like make sense for what it is.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I think it's one of those things where I don't know if it's because people are lazy. I don't know if it's because they're spending the money.
for
They're
sure,
spending the money. They're
money's
burning.
being
they're,
spent.
they're burning. They're burning money.
before even any filming,
Before
there's
anything's
hundreds
done.
of millions out the
They're
door.
burning money.
Yeah.
But the end result of it is just this movie that's just not good. And I guess they're doing it because people are still turning out to see it. People are still going to watch it, right?
Yeah.
People will always go see a Marvel movie. People will always go see a Star Wars
It's just
movie.
the masses that they can
But
rely
it's just they just they fall in line. They want to see the Tom Holland, or they want to see the actors and actresses kind of come in that way. But it's like you're not giving people like any meat on the bone. You're giving them slop. You're
Literally,
giving them
yeah.
literal
Like
like
the surface
gruel.
level,
It's
yeah.
peasant gruel for the
Yeah,
eyes.
it's
It's
true.
not good.
on. It's terrible. And then so many people a lot of people don't
And I'm
even
not saying
realize.
they're not saying to make like some artsy French film, set in Paris
Sure,
or whatever. I'm
yeah.
not saying
because that doesn't always work either.
Yeah,
Look at
I'm
the
not saying
French
do that
Dispatch.
either,
Like
right?
that didn't even work.
But like, just do something like what we did before with like Lord of the Rings, fuck it, Titanic, Heat.
And look at the
you know,
budget.
it's-
Look at the budget of the Lord of the Rings films. I think each one, they were all made at the same time, but I think like splitting it up,
Pirates of the
the
Caribbean, right? Something.
budget was like 75 million for each Lord of the Rings film. I don't know if it's just for inflation, but maybe 100 million tops. That is like so low compared to how much Avengers Endgame cost, which was like 500 million to $1 billion, including marketing. It's like, it's just so crazy how they can spend so much money. It's almost like, is there like money laundering going on? Like, where's all this-
Probably. I
where's
wouldn't be
this money going?
surprised.
It's
I think
crazy.
I know a lot of the big ones. It goes to like a lot of the actors that are looking
Sure.
for money for coming up front.
But
which
when
I
it's,
get it.
when it's a $500 million film,
Yeah. What are we doing?
who's getting that money? Is
What
it
are we
all going to the CGI studios that are so overbooked that they're charging crazy rates?
And
I
they're
don't know.
overworking them like crazy.
And they're producing less quality because they have so much work?
Yeah.
Let's move away from that then.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop making...
Why is something practical effects? I think it's an opinion that I think everyone has, or anyone who has a good opinion, right? Has believes that practical effects are just better,
So
than
much better.
CGI. They uphold longer than
more
CGI.
convincing, yeah. I know Chris.
But even if you do CGI really, really well, it can still hold up years later. Pirates of the Caribbean is a great example of
So's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like the
It
big battle
holds up.
scenes. Yeah, it's insane. But also too, like Lord of the Rings and Pirates. I think I remember for Lord of the Rings, like the orcs in that, the costuming and the makeup is like
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable.
It's
like
crazy.
I've never seen anything like
No.
that. And you just don't have that now. Now it's like we'll just put like dots on your face and give
Yeah.
you like this green screen animated thing. It's like
They don't use extras too anymore for shit.
not like
They
they
don't-
used to. Yeah.
Not they used to. I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest one with the biggest, I think, extras was the Waterloo movie with where they literally used divisions of the Red Army.
Yeah,
to
which
like
is
dress
insane.
them up to
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
recreate the Battle of Waterloo. I mean,
Right.
you don't have. I'm not saying you go to that extent, but like, why are we doing CGI? A crowd here. Why can't
Literally.
you can't get people to, or like what they did in Gladiator, right? They got a bunch of people, right, to do a scene for that, like
Yeah.
the crowd scene. and then they just CGI imposed that crowd, like moving them around or whatever to give a bigger impression of the
Right.
Coliseum. Like
Yeah.
even that works,
Yeah,
right?
for
Because
sure.
now they're so distant you can't even really like tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they would just nowadays they would probably just do
The whole thing.
the whole thing.
We'll have like 10 actors and we'll
Oh, you
like,
saw that with Gladiator 2.
we
another-
can't we don't have enough time to get into the
Another
Gladiator
great-
too.
Maybe the
'cause-
next week.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I know it's kind of old now, but
Yeah. But,
yeah.
but yeah, it's just. But I think now is a good stopping point for this one. I think this was a good podcast here.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah, we'll continue with some
like and subscribe.
yeah, we'll try to talk about maybe Obsession next week. See if we can go see that while it's still in theaters.
Yeah.
And then yeah, go from there.
Go from there. Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Like and subscribe.